Sup, guys? We're here for the Council Network. Welcome to the Season 1, Episode 4 review of Luke Cage, because we're doing it episode by episode. And oh my god, you would think I would not like this episode because it went, from the last episode, I was going to say last week's, the last episode was a little more slow-paced than this, but this episode was fantastic because it did a lot of character development and a lot of backstory for Luke that we did not know about. And there was a lot of questions that is pretty much leading to my mind right now. Like, okay, so we have Justin Hammer's stuff on the streets. That much we know. And we know he's in Seagate. And I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see him. I don't know if the actor would be willing to do that, but it makes me excited to think about it. So, Luke Cage was in prison. He was a cop. And he got framed. He opened his mouth, whatnot. They didn't like what he said, so they threw him in jail. We find all this out why him and his landlord, I believe her name was Connie, are under the rubble because Luke saved her life. Kudos. I'm tired of everyone dying in Luke's life. Not a bad thing, just saying. Which leads me to another thing. There's another character death in this episode, yet again. Fuck my life, but it's okay because honestly, it's not that I enjoy it. It's just like every episode, they're killing someone off, and it's so crazy. It feels like fucking watching a Saw movie at times. Okay, it's not that bad, but, people are dying left and right. That's kind of the thing. So, Luke Cage's real name is Carl Lucas, and that's pretty interesting to say the least. We also, in this episode, we also saw Shades during the episode, which was pretty damn cool that, they kind of go all the way back. We've gotten hints about it, but seeing it on screen is completely different chemistry, and I loved it. But I like how Luke got to meet his, soon-to-be wife. Oh, wait, she's dead, too. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist making that joke. It's terrible. But it's like everyone he cares about just falls out of his life left and right. It's insane. This poor guy, you gotta feel bad for him when you think about it. But we find out that he found Reva because she was a psychiatrist at the prison he was staying at. Pretty much the Joker situation with Harley Quinn, in that chemistry. But Luke isn't a bad guy, so obviously that's not a thing. So there's a dirty cop in there. Of course there's a dirty cop. There's always a dirty cop in these stories. So the dirty warden cop, however you want to put it, they got their hands everywhere. They're just like, we want you for a fight club. I want you to be a gladiator. And if you don't do what I tell you to, well, you see your buddy over there that you just made friends with that walks kind of funny? He's going to get another 20 years if you don't do what I say. So, of course, Luke is going to do what he says. This is all backstory. It's all flashback. So, Luke gets into the MMA club. I guess that's how you want to call it. Because you can't say the other one. You're not allowed to say the other one. I couldn't help make that reference. So Luke is pretty much beating the shit out of everyone, and then he decides at one point, you know what, you see he's getting all cut up and whatnot. Reva sees him. He's got an afro and whatnot going on, giant beard. Looks worse than Oliver did in Arrow Season 1 on the first episode. I went there. But I gotta be honest, I really did enjoy this episode completely because of the backstory. And I wasn't figuring I would do that. I was like, oh, great, they're under the rubble. We're going to get 5 minutes of just them under the rubble and the rest is going to be backstory. But the backstory was done extremely well. I got to be completely honest. I loved it. But, so what happens is he's in the fight club. He wants to get out. He says, look, I don't want to do this shit anymore. Says it to Reva. Shades tells them, oh, we found out from Reva. No, that's not actually true. They found out from Mr. Squeakers, the guy who walks kind of funny, because they killed him. And they killed him to get the information out of him because obviously they're working for the crooked cop, of course, and whatnot. So that's an entire thing. But, I mean, seriously, it's insane because of what they do to him. They just, legit beat the out of him till he's dead. You just leave him for death, you know what I mean? They're just nailing him. This is before he had the power. So of course he's in the he's in the infirmary. The doctor's like, Reva, you don't need to be here for this. Just go take the ferry. Don't come back, tonight. You don't need to be here for this. And we find out, and this is what's leading me to believe, I don't think it's just because I watched it twice as I was sitting there trying to piece it together. And I'll explain it in a moment, but we find out how Luke got his powers, where he was in a chemical bath, and the crooked cop that he's like, I don't want to fight no more, tried to kill him by shutting off a certain valve, and that led him to, obviously, screaming his head off for a good minute or two, but hey, he came out with bulletproof skin and everything. So what this leads me to believe, the whole thing, is that in the infirmary, the doctor says to Reva, I've never had a patient like this before. This bad. He's just pretty much trash. I can't work with him. Who else was he working with? What, like, it just leads the doorway. I don't know if that's Marvel laying down the seeds, because I said this before, that anytime they kill someone off, they can just pull the multiverse thing, since that now is a thing with Doctor Strange. They did confirm it, talking about it. I know Kevin Feige did. And at the same time, you have Thanos, and pretty much death is near confirmed to be, they're going that route. Then you could bring everyone back from the dead. That includes Purple Man. That includes Ironmonger, if he's dead. That includes anyone and everyone of the villain base who has died so far. And any heroes who have died. So Quicksilver can easily come back tomorrow if they wanted to do that whole thing. Just saying, the door's open, the possibility's there. But what I want to know is, street level wise, who is this guy working on? Because this could tie in, and I know this is a little far-fetched. It could tie into Spider-Man Homecoming later. Like, say, when we get to the second or third movie, and they make the connection from this, it's like, oh yeah, I made the Rhino who he is, or I made the Scorpion who he is. Same doctor, he's totally legitimate bullshit. And it's just basically because Luke is being on all these guys, and all these guys disappear, and obviously they're not in jail anymore. So something happened to them, and they went somewhere. But where the hell did they go? Is the real question I want to know. What the hell's going on there? But Luke breaks out of jail pretty much, and that's going to set up something, in my opinion, for the back half of the season. Again, I've only watched up to the 4th episode, and we hear, Sweet Christmas! I look like a damn fool! That costume he was wearing that he just stole because he had no clothes, he's got to change his identity, that's what he wore in the comics, in the original run. And I like that they had that little moment of it. And him with Reva, being just out of the way, out from jail and whatnot, trying to be on the run or whatever, however you want to phrase it, and shaving his head bald, it all comes full around, and now we know why and how he pretty much got to New York, because of Jessica Jones. Everything ties in, and this whole thing with Justin Hammer, again, I know I constantly go back to it, but I just feel it's playing some important role, more than just to make Iron Man 2 feel more important than it actually was. I really do believe that. So furthermore, let's talk about what was going on when they were under the rubble. Luke saved her, obviously. The firefighters were there, and Misty Knight is trying to figure out, okay, how do we tie this to Cottonmouth? How does this whole thing go into Cottonmouth? Where was he on the footage? Of course, they had and those are real things in New York City. If you're not aware, those little police cams, those are real things in Manhattan. And I thank God we have them, in all seriousness. But I like that Marvel included it, because it's a very minor little thing. But hey, if someone's going to shoot a rocket launcher, I think there would be a manhunt for that guy. It wouldn't just be, oh, let's look at a police camera and, go from there. I think it would be a full-on manhunt. Just pure evidence and everything. But again, that's just my opinion. But I like how, his landlord's like, if we get out of here, you have to explain everything to me, because I don't understand it. So he's like, just don't worry about it right now. I just know I'm strong. And you could have phrased it 20 other ways, because Luke is the kind of guy that doesn't want to be known as a hero, but he's proven more and more to be a hero, episode after episode. It's hilarious. But I love that they paid homage to the comics with the tiara. I love that they paid homage with the Sweet Christmas. and the yellow shirt and whatnot. You look like a damn fool. I love that. I really fucking do. But I'm telling you, I just this episode leaves me wanting more. I don't know where the story's gonna go next, and that makes me excited. And I know that Misty Knight is paying more and more attention to Luke. She's on him. She knows Sun's up. But anyway, fantastic episode. Again, I'm not going to score it because I don't feel it's right to score things anymore. I just think that we should talk about the good and the bad of it, and that'd be that. But I enjoyed this episode very much. And if you're out there watching, you want to share your thoughts, make sure to tell me down in the comments below. Always got an ear open for you guys. Anyways, if you're brand new and you enjoy the content, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more. And I will see you later. Because there's a Dragon Ball Super review coming out by John. Thank you for that in advance. And I got a Gotham review, the episode 5 and WWE Raw to post out. So, see you then. Peace.